Hello, and welcome to this session about UEM and DEM integration. My name is Pim Van de Vis, and I'm a Senior Solutions Architect at VMware. So, little disclaimer, because the feature I'm about to show you might not be live by the time this video goes live. So, Dynamic Environment Manager integration with Workspace ONE UEM. Why would you do this? Because this brings together two perfect good products and brings you a lot of new use cases. So let's start with a quick introduction to DEM, because not everybody might be familiar with that, and then focus a little bit on what the use cases are. So Dynamic Environment Manager started as a user profile manager solution back in the days when terminal servers needed a solution for roaming profiles. And over the years, it has expanded by adding user environment settings, allowing to manage the user environment, and recently also the computer environment settings. So because of that change, the name needed to be changed from just User Environment Manager to Dynamic Environment Manager. And of course, the UEM acronym was also already used by Workspace ONE. So that's why we recently changed the name. So then let's see what those use cases are. With Dynamic Environment Manager, you can configure a lot of settings in the user and in the computer environment. Think of settings like ADMX-based settings. You can deploy GPOs basically, but without the computer needing to be joined in a domain. So that's pretty convenient in a Workspace ONE UEM environment. We have a feature called application blocking, for instance, where you can very easily use and work with include and exclude lists to allow which applications can be launched by the user. And you can do stuff like mapping drives, mapping printers, injecting registry keys, copying files, etc. And all done in a very intuitive way and typically a lot faster and easier than using the native Workspace ONE UEM console. So it does make sense to bring these two together to benefit from the ease of management of DEM. And on top of that, Dynamic Environment Manager has a feature called Privilege Elevation that allows you to launch applications even when you're just a local normal user. You can launch applications with elevated privileges. It means you can run them as an administrator, or you can allow users to install their own apps, for instance. And this is something that currently is not available with Workspace ONE UEM. So it does make sense to combine these two. Now, let's just have a quick look at the demonstration I created to see what this looks like for the user. So for this first version of the integration, we still need to leverage the existing DEM Management Console to create DEM configurations. So for that, we've created a new tab where you can very easily switch the Management Console to integrated mode. We're going to open an existing DEM config file, which is basically a zipped up set of DEM settings. So let's have a look at what these settings are. In this case, there are some ADMX-based settings. As you can see, it's very easy to edit these ADMX and GPO settings. And in this case, I have configured the website, the homepage for Google Chrome to go to vmware.com. I've also configured a company wallpaper and some additional GPO settings. I've also enabled application blocking to block and allow only specific applications. And I've enabled privilege elevation, as you can see, to allow users to install their own apps, but only under the right circumstances. And in order to complete the set, you also need a NoAD XML that you can very easily import. And this is the configuration for the DEM agent that we need to deploy. So this configures the DEM agent, but you can very easily include this in the DEM config file. Same goes for this license file. The DEM agent needs a license, but you can very easily import it here in the Management Console and then deliver it as a single package to the endpoint. So we're going to save this and upgrade the version to 2.3. And then we're done with the DEM Management Console. So this is just editing, updating, and creating the DEM settings. Now the rest is done with the Workspace ONE UEM console. So there's a new configuration setting. If you go to configurations, it's called Dynamic Environment Manager. And that typically, if you go there, that explains the steps I've just shown you, that you still need to install the DEM console, where you can create these configuration files and then deliver them using UEM profiles. So let's do that. Let's go to one of these profiles within DEM that we can use to deliver the set of DEM configurations to your endpoints. Here's the Sales 2.2 version. Let's edit this existing profile and see if we can update it with this recently upgraded version that we created. So we're going to add a version to the profile, scroll down to the Dynamic Environment Manager section, and then you can click Change and simply upload a new set of DEM configurations. Click Save and Publish, and everything is published to the end user. So the next step is that we also need the DEM agent on the machine. So for that, we are just going to leverage the native application delivery mechanism within Workspace ONE UEM. The good thing is this agent comes as an MSI, so you can just upload it to the console. And the only thing you need to change is at the deployment options to add a specific installation switch to the MSI installation command. And this switch is integration enabled is 1. This will make sure that the DEM agent knows that it's installed in integration mode. So once that's done, you're good to go, and we can switch to an endpoint to see what this actually looks like from the end user perspective. So we're going to log on to a session, and right now the DEM agent will apply all the settings that we have configured. So as you can see, the company wallpaper is in place. And if we launch Google Chrome, you will see that the homepage is configured to go to vmware.com. We also had configured an application blocking rule. That means that only specified applications can launch. So for instance, if a user downloads a sketchy Bitcoin miner.exe, that will simply be blocked because it's not on the include list. And we've also enabled privilege elevation. That means that users can install their applications, their own application, but only when they're coming from a specific location and follow the rules that you defined. So in this case, as you can see, a user can simply install Notepad++, even if he's just a normal user. So that's that from the end user perspective. The last minute of the demo I would like to use to show a couple of troubleshooting scenarios, or at least explain a little bit what's happening under the hood. So if we go into the registry, you can see that this MSI installation switch we used, integration enabled is 1, does a couple of things. It defines where the license file for the agent will be stored. That's a hard-coded location in program data. And the same goes for the noAD file. The noAD file is always configured to be in this C program data folder. And as you can see in this case, the noAD file has already been processed because all the values from there have been added to the registry. So the DEM agent is fully configured. Now, if we go to the program data location, you can see that that DEM config file for sales that we created is delivered here and also extracted to this location so that the DEM agent can process this. There's the ADMX-based settings, and also, as you can see, the license file and the noAD file that we included using the management console. And for the last step, we can also browse to the local app data folder where the DEM agent actually creates its log file. So if you would like to see what's happening under the hood, this is where you can open and find the DEM log file for further analyze and troubleshooting. So that concludes the demo. I hope that by the time you see this video, this feature will be live. If you do want to know more, or if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. You can find me on Twitter here. Thanks for watching, and have a good VM world.